The National Association of State Budget Officers was established in 1945. NASBO is the professional organization of budget officers in all of the 50 states as well as the territories. We've created a video series providing insight and information about state budgeting concepts. This State Budget Basics video is on state taxes and revenue. State governments collect taxes and fees to pay for different expenses like schools, healthcare, prisons, and roads. In this video, we're going to explain the basics of where state government money comes from. Revenue is any money collected or received by a state in order to fund government. There are many sources of revenue, and states for the most part have the ability to raise or lower revenue levels as they see fit because they are separate from the federal government. States receive over 30% of the money they spend from the federal government. But this video is about the sources of funds other than that from the federal government. As a citizen of a state, you likely pay an income tax on your salary or sales tax when you purchase things. This money goes into the general fund, which is the fund that provides money for many state services. States have to estimate how much money they will collect in taxes for the next year. State officials then have to adjust their spending based on the amount that actually comes in from taxes. Let's talk a little more about each state revenue source in the general fund.
41 states have a broad-based income tax, which is a tax on how much income you make during the year. The income tax is calculated as a percentage of one's income. The state sets the percentage by law. The percentage rate sometimes varies depending on how much income you earn. Income tax generates about 42% of all state revenue in the general fund.
Another common state tax is the sales tax. This is a tax on items you buy. Sales tax is generally not charged for services such as haircuts or health care. Sales tax generates about 31% of all state revenue in the general fund, with the highest state sales tax at 7.5% and the lowest at 2.9%. 5 states have no sales tax.
Another common tax states utilize is the corporate income tax. This is a tax on corporate earnings in the state. For instance, a state may choose to tax a company's net profit. This corporate income tax generates about 6% of all revenue in the general fund. Personal income, sales, and corporate income taxes are general revenue sources, meaning that for the most part, they're not designated or earmarked for anything in particular. The money raised from these taxes helps fund education, health care, and other core government services. Since much of the money from these taxes is not specifically earmarked, the governor and state legislature have some discretion as to how these general taxes are spent.
Gaming taxes generate less than 1% of all revenue in the general fund. States that operate a lottery collect revenue from the purchase of those tickets, and most states use that money to fund education. States have also expanded gambling in recent years, and states can charge taxes on casino winnings.
There are a few other taxes and fees that provide revenue to states. These other taxes and fees amount to approximately 20% of state general fund revenues. For example, fees and tolls are charged to citizens when they use different services. A university student pays fees for gyms and other services. Energy-rich states like Alaska, North Dakota, and Texas receive a significant amount of money from this revenue source. Now let's talk about taxes that are used mainly for specific purposes. The best example of this is the gas tax. When you fill up your tank, you pay a tax on each gallon of gas you pump. The gas tax money funds transportation projects, usually roads, but also other transportation like buses, trains, and subways. Other selective sales taxes are charged on tobacco or alcohol, but these may or may not be earmarked to pay for specific things. Before I wrap up, I want to mention one common misperception. People often think that states get significant revenue from property taxes. In most states, though, when you pay property taxes on your home, that money mostly goes to help fund your local government, such as a city, town, or county. It goes for services such as police, fire protection, and schools. Remember, there are exceptions to these basic explanations. With 50 states and 5 territories, there are differences in how revenue is raised. But I hope this video provided you with a general overview. For more information on state expenditures, check out our companion video, State Budgets and Spending. Where does the money go? The National Association of State Budget Officers is a nonpartisan, nonprofit organization helping to inform citizens about state budgets.